Hello, I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm normally buzzing, to be fair, but even more so as another year's gone by. We're heading back to Pads Lake. If you haven't watched the last video from a year before, we had an absolute stonker of a session. I think we had about 12, 13 fish, something like that between us. I had 3 20s, the biggest being 29, really dark, lovely, pristine common. We did 3 nights last year. We're doing 4 nights this year. The other boys actually had at least a couple of 30s each as well. It was an absolute corker of a session. So hopefully we can get somewhere near that. The conditions are exactly the same pretty much as this time last year. I suppose that's why we book it now. So it's September the 11th. So the weather's sort of been on the turn from the summer temperatures, steadily heading down. We hadn't had hardly any rain all summer, and we've had quite a lot of heavy on and off rain the last 10 days. So all being well, stormy-ish conditions, weather on the turn, temperatures dropping. Again, exactly the same as last year. Hopefully it means that they get their heads down and get on the feed. So I'm in Farnham. I live in Farnham. I've got 30-minute drive to the mill for our customary breakfast. It's me, Harvey and Anthony. Me and Anthony are getting down there today. Harvey's joining us after work. So we've got 4 full days and nights, and Harvey's got 3.5, 3 3/4, something like that. So, yeah, let's get there and get it going.
Fucking make your friends, man.
So, we're here. We've landed. Been here a couple of hours. I've got 2 rods out so far, and you can see what's happened. It's like a carbon copy of last year. The first day we arrived, we had thunderstorms. We've just had thunder and lightning. We are in the middle of the eye of a storm right now, which is really cool. So hopefully that's a good sign. I'll show you where I'm at in a bit. Obviously, once it calms down, I need to get my 3rd and final rod out. There was a fish that just showed where I'm about a rod length away from where I'm going to put my 3rd rod, which is a good sign as well. I've got one in the left-hand bay. I've bushwhacked that out. I've got the 2nd rod here that you can see. That's right up to some lily pads. And I've spun 3 or 4 spons over it. Chopped tigers, whole tigers, pellet, garlic buzz, which is garlic, God knows what else in terms of liquid. Oh, I just saw a massive fish show right over in front of where Anthony's fishing. So yeah, once the storm passes, I can fill you in with a bit more information and get that final rod out. But it is proper carpy right now. See if I can give you a bit of a better view. Probably get struck by lightning now, but yeah, look at this. That's what we did have, blue sky. We've currently got this overhead, and it keeps rumbling. So yeah, bring it on. So, nothing to report for any of us overnight. I wouldn't say they've been boshing like mad all night, but there's been plenty of fish boshing out down this, what sounded like down this end of the lake. Since I've been up since 4:30. And what time is it now? It's just coming up to 6:30. And since I've been sat here in the dark initially, I've had one bosh out, literally half a rod length down here. It wasn't very big, but there was a much better fish about 3 or 4 rod lengths to the right and slightly further back, probably in line with that big tree there. You know, when they sort of bosh out and then 3 seconds later bosh out again, looked like a good fish. So my rod is sort of here, and I think to the right of it there's a weed bed, so he's probably hanging out in the weed bed. The one I've got on the pads over here, I'm thinking already, if I don't have any action from that, I might get the deeper out and lead out beyond the weed bed, or just check out the weed bed in general. Maybe there's a little gap in the weed bed on the right hand side here. So I might move the pads rod over to here. I think the one in the bay I'm just going to leave there. I think it's always good to have one in the bay because it's a passing place and they get in and they get out of there. So not amazing signs, but there are signs here and there are fish sort of in my swim, which is achievable for me to get near at least, so that's something. So, but yeah, it's still one of the first of 4 bite times that we're going to get, which is nice to think about. But I'm pretty sure this lake, in fact I know this lake does for day bites anyway, so but yeah, I'll sit here for a bit longer and see if I can see any further signs. So the storm has passed and it's absolutely glorious now, and there's now no wind at all. You could tell there was a storm on the way because there was gusty winds swinging in beforehand. So all 3 rods are out now. So there's quite a tall tree, like the tallest tree in the back row there. From there all the way across to where there's a sort of big V dip thing, it's pretty clear. On the right hand side of that there's a weed bed. It's about just under 11 wraps out the right hand rod. Loads of nice flat hard weed free, quite a big spot basically on the right hand rod, so that's gone out last. And I've put about 5 or 6 spoms over the top of that, and then I don't know if you can see, I might have to bring it forward. Then there's some pads over there in the background. That is also exactly the same distance, so there's a little bit of weed in front of the left hand side of the pads, but where you can see a swim over the other side, just in there's a gap in between the pads. It's like a little V-shaped opening, so I've popped the left hand rod in there. I've popped only 3 sort of midi spoms over the top of that one, so a little bit less bait. So yeah, that's the plan at the moment. The other rod, the one that went out first, I bushwhacked out, is in this little cut here. So this is been bushwhacked out. I'm not actually sure how far out it is, but there's a nice bay in this corner, and apparently they get in and out there all the time, as you'd imagine. So I've bushwhacked it over. There's a dead tree stump over there. It's probably a rod length back from that, just to the slightly to the right. That isn't as clear of a spot as my right hand rod out in open water. However, it's pretty clear and there's hardly any weed. I've gone with 3 noodles because I'm fairly confident that all 3 spots are clear enough for them to present. So we're going to try noodles to start off with. I don't know for how long. I'll reset the rods like I normally do every midday tomorrow, I expect. So, but they will be sat and they will be left now. So yeah, hopefully we get some action shortly to show you. Morning. It's Saturday morning. It's day 2 morning. So this is the halfway point of basically, because we're off for Monday at 9:30. There's a lot of fizzing out there and quite a lot of shows.
annoyingly just past my middle rod spot. But at least fish are generally in the zone, so nothing to add, apart from Harvey losing that one at about 2 AM last night. But yeah, there's a lot more fish activity, which is a bonus. I had quite a few liners last night on the right hand rod, which again is good. The right hand rod's over there towards that big tree, the left hand rod is towards that slightly bigger tree there, and that in the distance is where all the fizzing is. And I just saw a fish jump out 3 times consecutively. So yeah, they're feeding and they're up and about and they're showing, which is cool, isn't it? That's all part of it as well. It's much calmer than it has been. You can actually see fizzing this morning. Since we've been here, it's been very windy. I think this is going to be the only calm day. As tomorrow, there's some real serious weather coming in. I mean, again, could that be good? It's up to 40-mile-an-hour winds and heavy rain for most of the daytime. So it will be bivvy bound watching Super Sunday. Premier League's back today. They've had an international break. First game is Arsenal-Nottingham Forest at 12:30, so I'll be watching that. But yeah, hopefully something happens in bite time and I'll have something to show you. Fingers crossed. So, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. I thought I'd move the one that I had out on the left underneath those small section of pads. Haven't seen any signs of fish or any fizzing or anything over there. So I've brought one rod in, and I've managed to find, I think there's quite a chunky, half chunky sort of weed bed here. So I'm hoping just beyond it I found quite a nice clear spot. You can probably see the slick actually where I've just spawned out, just drifting off left. So there's a big tree there on its own, well, a skinny but tall tree. And I've managed to find a really nice spot, about 14 wraps. The reason I've moved it there, obviously I've seen that fish show. Yesterday at about 2 o'clock there was a fish splashed out, and this morning exactly the same spot. So there are clearly a few in the weed bed there. So I'm hoping I've gone just beyond it, in a nice clear spot behind it. Obviously I might get into a bit of trouble if I hook one. I'm sure it'll dive straight in there. But yeah, I thought that was the most sensible thing to do, going off what I've seen this morning. I'll give it another couple of hours and I'll probably redo the bushwhacker one in the bay, and redo this other one and leave it on the same spot. I've also done some baiting down the far margin here, just to see if I can get something going down there, so I'll keep checking that. That might be a good one for tomorrow. If I end up getting some fish on interested down in that margin, then I might end up doing a bit of stalking in that corner swim. So all to play for, plenty of time, but obviously after one night already you start panicking a bit, going I've got to change something. It gets into your head, doesn't it? So hopefully this makes a bit of a difference. So on the way around, Ant's just had another one. That's his 4th. So he's had a double, a mid-20 and a 31-pound fish. So let's go and check it out. Look at his back sticking out. He's got some whip there. Yeah. This could be. He's not very long, is he? But look at his belly. Definitely pushing 40 there. What was it again? 38 and a half.
38.5 pounds.
Proper Yateley bad boy. This is why we're here. It's your 4th now, isn't it? So, and they just keep getting bigger.
4th
They literally have just got bigger, haven't they? They've gone from a double to a mid-20 to a 31 to this 38.5 pound Yateley bad boy. Look at his gut. Dropped a rig on proper fizzing, wasn't it? Not very far out, round the corner. Yes. Yes. Back home. And we've got two more nights.
2 more nights.
2 more nights, and you're cleaning up, mate. We need to catch you up. Harvey lost one in the night, didn't he? So it might be time for me to move a bit closer to you, my man. I'll become friends with you. Just round the corner, we can do each other's photos then. You're going to have one on the pads rod next, aren't you, I expect?
I think it's going to go in a minute.
Yeah. See you later. Winning, mate. So that's what we came for. We just need the other two of us to get in on the action now. As I reeled in to help Ant, it's probably a good time for me to move from the point. So I'll still be similarly fishing the same sort of area that I've been targeting, but just coming in from the side, and will give me more access to the centre of the lake, where it looks like that's where most of the fizzing and action's been this morning. So the move is on. So I'm quite impressed with that. 2 hours from deciding to move to moving and getting all 3 rods out. So lovely day, easily the best day of weather we've had so far. Anthony just had another one, that's his 5th. It looked like it could quite possibly have been the smallest fish in the whole lake, but they all count. So yeah, just to give you an idea of what's going on, you probably saw me bushwhacking this one out, so that's about 3 wraps out, nice clear spot, look clear anyway, very minimal bait, daytime, nicking a bite, amounts of bait. And then the middle rod is it's 12 lengths of bushwhacker, so I need to work that out what that is in wraps, but it's not very far. It's got to be 4 wraps right out to the middle. And then this one is about 5 wraps, I reckon. It's 16 lengths of bushwhacker, and if I move it round, there is, you see the edge of the pads there, so it's very weedy all the way along here. And then just at the end, just before I dropped it, a lovely clear spot appeared. It's about 3.5 foot. It's generally about 3.5 foot all the way across. So yeah, that's on hopefully a clear spot. We've got a nice drop in all 3. Very minimal bait, daytime amounts to try and nick bites. So we go again. So it's 5:20. I've just come back from a little mini social over the other side in Harvey's swim. The only action that's happened today is Anthony's lost one off the pads. Obviously just scooted straight in there. He was on the rod, totally on the rod, but it's just he walked back with it and it just beasted straight in the pads and he lost it. So apart from that, it's been a bit quieter today. This morning was very active. Obviously I've moved. I'm now in a swim called the Causeway. It's very skinny. You have to leave enough room for a barrow to get in and out. It's basically a footpath, so it's like fishing on a canal. So when I first got in here, I quickly bushwhacked out a few just to see if I could grab a day bite, to no avail. So I left them a few hours just before we went over there for our little mini social. I got the deeper out and found some proper spots for, you know, like setting up for the night. So one straight out at 10 wraps. And there's a weed bed on the left hand side, so I'm hoping, and it feels like it's nice and clear, that I'm just on the right side of the weed bed. So this morning they were all in that weed bed fizzing, hence why I've moved around here. So I'm hoping that if I've set up shop on the side of the weed bed, it's going to entice them out. Maybe in the morning. It might not even happen till then. And then the middle rod is on another clear spot. It's kind of, my rods are basically fanned out, so they're straight out, and then the other 2 are sort of dotted around in a fan shape. So one is 9 wraps and the other one is 6.5 wraps. All of them definitively on nice clear spots. I've pulled the lead through, they're all lovely and silky. I've really accurately just spommed out 2 midi spoms on each. I was doing 4 or 5 yesterday, so I'm again I'm reducing it down a bit more to see if that enhances the chances of a bite. So yeah, just going to keep giving it my best shot. Slightly low on confidence 2 days in, and not a huge amount of signs. So yeah, hopefully it switches on. We are due, it's got a bit calmer now, it's been quite windy all day, but it's been quite warm in the sun. And tomorrow we're due quite a bit of choppy rain, heavy rain. So I might be a bit more bivvy bound tomorrow, but the rods are set. I'm going to leave them now until midday tomorrow, maybe even longer. Give them a really good chance. I'm fairly confident. All the spots are really nice. All the bait's really accurate. It's the best I can do. So here's to hoping something comes from the effort.
Harvey's just had one. So I'm walking round to check it out. Up, so I don't. Oh, I think he's fucking proper in there. Could you try and? I don't know where the sign is.
He's gone straight in there, has he?
Yeah. I don't know what to do.
I had an occurrence at like 1:30 and I haven't been able to get back to sleep. So I've been laying there for an hour.
What happened?
What to do?
I can feel him. Get on.
He's still on, is he?
Get on.
Steady pressure, hopefully. Yeah, you just got to be patient, mate, and hopefully he'll kick out. Unfortunately, after a battle, like 10-minute battle, I had to put pressure on it to actually try and do something with it. It's pinged off, so on to the next one.
Don't be so tense.
I got you that time. Come on, baby.
Light my fire. No.
Exactly.
Alright, chilly.
Like my fire. He's tired. Yeah, that's it. It's good lighting, actually. Matt out a bit. That's it. Cool. That's enough.
Oh, there you go.
That's perfect. Yeah. Well done. Lovely. 1:30 AM. £32. 32 and a half, wasn't it? 32.8.
Yeah.
Almost a level, that. A few little scales on his tail. Off you go, mate. Off you go. Go on, Bill. God, it's a chilly one this morning. It's that Sunday morning. Nothing has happened apart from Ant had one last night, obviously, which I showed you, which you would have seen. It's mill pond calm this morning. I'm actually really, it sounds really messed up, but I'm actually really confident off the back of the spots I found yesterday and the way that the accuracy of the spawns and the spots I'm on are definitely clear. I just need basically the fish to turn up and be in the zone like they were yesterday, hence why I moved here. So it's 6:30 in the morning. I haven't seen any signs yet actually, and I think normally at 6:30 in the morning there's a bit more activity, but we go again. Got just under 24 hours to go. So this time tomorrow will be last knockings. I'm just about to have my first coffee. It's bloody cold. Fingers crossed. So I was just stood here with Anthony having a cuppa, and obviously this time of the morning you get lots of fish on the move and patches of fizz, etc. So I've gone for it and moved my right hand rod, the one that's 6.5 reps out to the right, onto a fizz patch, which ultimately isn't fizzing anymore at the moment, but there's a little bit of fizzing around it, so it's basically opposite that swim in the distance. Pretty much where that moorhen is now. So there was fizzing there, there's not anymore, but sod it, I put a little PVA stick full of pellet on the hook, so if it is a slightly weedy area, at least it hopefully sits alright, or bounces its way through some weed. I did get a nice drop actually on it, so that's a bonus, I suppose. But yeah, we'll see what happens, see if the fizzing carries on, or it could all be for nothing, but effort equals reward, and you never know.
So it's 5:30 on the last day. So I am blanking hard at the moment, but this happens sometimes. The only fish that's been out today is from Harvey earlier on, up against the pads in the corner of the lake. It's a really tiny swim, and it's probably only 6 wraps into the pads. You've got to just be, it's a daytime swim, you've got to be on the rods, but he had probably a 6 pound common, so at least he hasn't blanked. So at the moment I'm the only blanker. It's been raining quite hard the last few hours, and then 1 o'clock night tonight there's going to be 40-mile-an-hour winds all the way through pack up, and then all day tomorrow until the evening. So what was that? That might have been a fish right near me, nowhere near my spots. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Hopefully a big wind makes a difference, gets them going, gets them moving around. Same direction, southwesterly. The only blessing is that it's for pack up, it's going to be dry. It might actually be really, really windy, but at least it's going to be dry. Here comes the next bosh of rain as well. So hopefully something happens this evening, or overnight, or before I speak to you again in the morning. So if it does, you'll know about it. Fingers crossed.
Nothing for any of us overnight, and we have had some crazy weather. It's like 40 to 50-mile-an-hour winds, and last night before I went to bed, it coupled that with absolutely hammering rain. At times it's felt like the bivvy was going to take off. It seems to have had a negative effect on the fishing. Obviously a lot of the time you think, blimey, there's some weather coming, get out there and catch. It hasn't been the case. So one more bite time. I'm heading for a blank. I've still loved my time here, obviously. I love the thrill of the chase and having a laugh with my mates and things like that, but probably, yeah, what time is it now? It's 6:15, so 3 more hours to see if anything magical can happen, so fingers crossed again.
Right, that's it for me. I have been fully defeated. I've not even had a sniff, I've not even lost one, but that's the carp fishing life, isn't it, I suppose. Harvey also had a 16-pound, I think it was mirror in the night as well, so he's had a little tiddler, a 16-pound mirror and a 23-pound also mirror actually. Harvey's had 7, he's absolutely cleaned up off the pads. I started on the point for the 2 nights and it didn't happen. Moved around to the causeway and it hasn't happened still. So, bit gutted. I've woken up with a bad back as well. It's 7:45. We don't have to be off here till 9:30, but I need to get in the bath. I've been here 4 nights. I think it's a sign that I should probably just crack on. This might be my last session of the season as well. I've got one in for October the 10th over at Horton Church, but that will be massively weather dependent. So it could be goodbye until next season. So, not only that, I've found out that I've got a broken pole on my Frontier bivvy,
So I'm gonna have to get that sorted. So happy days, happy session, on to the next.